Hi, I'm Mars Q, and this is my life. As always, set the bar incredibly low for drawing ability, and on top of that I lost my voice last week, meaning the only sexy thing I have left is the fact that I can indeed lick my elbow. Plus I can scratch my ear with my toe. Once upon a time in China, a lot of people had sex like bunny rabbits, leading to overpopulation and a tendency to spread all over the world. I'm pretty sure all those ancient aliens are just Chinese people. Generations later, my family landed in a place I call Scar City. Here I grew up playing sports like hockey and basketball with an even mix of black and white people, until the cops shut down our playground because of alleged drug dealing. That's when a lot of kids started actually doing drugs. The first girl I ever liked was Jamaican. We used to ride our bikes together every day until her friends pointed out that I wasn't black and it was weird that she was hanging out with me all the time. I've felt mismatched ever since. According to conventional testing, I was a smart child. I played enough sports to avoid being a total nerd, but I also spent a lot of time in the library learning about nature on my own. I was also raised to be a devout Baptist and studied the Bible too. It may have been an attempt to woo the pastor's daughter, but in an ongoing trend she was rather unimpressed with me. As my grade 8 teacher pointed out, it would be interesting to see whether my love of science would one day conflict with my apparent love of Jesus. He was right. Dinosaurs and Jesus would prove to be incompatible. Overwhelmed by a wave of hormones and classic conditioning, I spent most of high school fishing for white chicks, but seemingly without any bait. I honestly don't think I learned anything during this period of my life, except that hot white girls will always choose the dickhead white guy over the nice Asian boy going through a bevy of unfortunate bodily changes. I never wore the headgear to school. That would have killed what little popularity I had going for me. Towards the end of high school, I reluctantly accepted the reality that I was indeed Chinese despite the protests of my fellow comrades. And by university, I was finally getting some because I finally stuck my own kind. I was not happy, but I was not unhappy either. Very little higher learning occurred. Then one day, this yellow dog finally met his lily white pussycat, keeping their taboo relationship the worst kept secret. We fell in love while studying the birds. She would be furious if I didn't color her eyes this way, even though they're hazel. I started to use my brain again. Well, sometimes. I was never happier. While studying theories of speciation using the distant relatives of katydids, I had my greatest scientific insight. What if humans were made up of different species? If some songbirds migrate to a new island and begin to sing a slightly different song, while sticking to their own kind or being ostracized by the locals, we tend to call it a new species, sometimes even a hybrid species if some mixing takes place. Haven't humans done this throughout history? Is it any different than J-date Christian mingle or apartheid? Species aren't determined by whether or not individuals can interbreed, but the actual pattern of doing so. Screw doing my PhD. I was already published. It was my duty to turn this into a grand book. The world couldn't ignore such a revolutionary idea. No way. But I was wrong. This shit started to hit the fan fast. I struggled writing. After over 6 years together, including getting left at the altar, my kitty cat and I finally broke up because of her parents. No kids. This wouldn't be the last time that my ethnicity was cited as a breeding barrier. My people were sneaky or undesirable for whatever reason whenever I was mentioned to any parents. Russians, Germans, Greeks, Jews, it didn't matter. My attempts to stay afloat teaching high school likewise failed due to an oversaturated job market. And after finally publishing my book, on my own for the sake of artistic integrity and in retrospect foolish pride, my former mentor ignored me. Even the biggest name in biology, who I helped out once upon a time writing for his boring-ass journal, dismissed me in just 7 words. There's a reason why everyone likes Stephen Jay Gould better. Dick. I basically screwed up my entire life trying to write a book that could change the world. This should be the most exciting scientific insight in biology since evolution, and I'm peddling it in a Draw My Life video. And that's just a little bit sad. But I actually don't have any real regrets other than wishing I had found the courage to do this sooner. I could take solace in knowing I tried my best and die in peace knowing that I created something special. It's a lot easier to make a bastard child than write a book. Well, a good book. In the end, I did this for me. But enough of this trip down memory lane. It's time to move on and find something more meaningful to do. I'm still looking to catch that big fish, hopefully not the size of a whale. All shades of people are welcome.